Are you ready for cocktails and conversation? This is Herspiration Happy Hour. Happy Wednesday and welcome to another episode of Herspiration Happy Hour. This season 5. This is episode 21. I at least remember that today. And this is your unapologetic diva, Dr. G.
This is Cortina Peters, a.k.a. the Girlfriend Therapist.
And this is Louisa Harrell, a.k.a. the Blue Phoenix. How are you, ladies?
All right. And so what are we speaking today?
Yeah, you must hear me. I said, how are you, ladies?
No, I'm good. It's been a day, and that's one of our conversations we're going to have. But what are we sipping today?
Well, we're sipping on something simple. We're just going to have a little 3-ingredient cocktail. You take 4 mint leaves and muddle it in a glass, 1 ounce vodka, put some ice on that, and then pour lemon lime soda on top and enjoy. It's called a citrus mint.
Oh,
okay. It sounds really refreshing too.
Yeah.
Something real good. Get you in the summer vibes.
Right.
Mm-hmm. You know, speaking of summer vibes or not so much, I know we normally do our WCWs, and at first I did have mine, but I just have to first of all, in lieu of doing our WCWs, I would love for us to just kind of give a moment of silence for, all of the tragedies that's going on, especially in Texas.
Yes, absolutely.
And so just want to take a moment and just, recognize and quietly pray for all of the victims, the families that just have to go through now and not have their kids, their parents, their grandparents. So we're just going to take a quick moment of silence for that. All right. I did that for so many reasons. I think today has probably been one of the most emotional days that I have really ever had in a long time. And I think that part of it is because I was sharing with Cortina before we went live, it's that I've been in several schools. I've talked to several kids, and I always feel and felt as though, especially at an elementary school, schools should be a safe haven, not a war zone.
Yeah.
And the mere fact that after this has happened, and what you're seeing on the news is that whether he was an illegal immigrant or any of that, instead of really dealing with what the problem is up front, is gun control. Mm-hmm. And then right after the heels of this happening, I was online. Of course, I'm always looking and I'm reading, and I read what people post. So I was reading a story about a 13-year-old that was up in New York that took a gun to school, and he had it down in his waistbands. And why at 13 do you have just that much access to a weapon to school? But then the other part is, what the hell is wrong with these children and young adults that they need this to feel safe? Why aren't there gun control laws being really talked about now? This shit should not be happening. There's no reason why elementary school students should go to school and not expect not to make it home. There's no reason that elementary school teachers who are underpaid and give their time and their hearts and their energy to children to go to school to teach and not be able to make it home. So I wanted to have this conversation because there's just so many things that's wrong. And all this finger pointing, and even with the situation with the child that was in the 13-year-old in New York, it said that the police have not interviewed the student because his parents declined to allow him to speak with the police. Yes, it said he was taken into custody and will be charged with second-degree criminal possession of a weapon and criminal possession of a firearm and criminal possession of a weapon on school grounds, but the police was not able to interview him. I'm trying to figure out why, in the presence of his parents, did they not feel comfortable with the police interviewing him? They could have even gotten a psychologist or sociologist or a counselor or someone to be in that room with them, with all of them, when those discussions are being had. Mm-hmm. Why is a 13-year-old taking a gun to school? Why is a parent dismissing the fact that conversations need to be had, questions need to be answered? What was his goal?
And why is it that if that's the case, why aren't the parents being charged?
Well, see, you know what? I'm over the fact that, because I don't think charging a parent is going to, it's not going to amount to anything at this point.
Well, no, I mean the fact that this happened and somebody needs to say something. You're not allowing your child to speak to the police. Somebody needs to know something, because what if it had went the other way? What if it had went in the other examples of the mass shootings that just happened? It's too many happening.
No, I'm saying I agree with that, but I don't think arresting the parents are going to get us more answers without talking to this child. Mm-hmm. What was going on in this child's mind that he felt the need to take a weapon to school? They don't know, was this child being bullied? They don't know anything and nothing has come out any different. And so it goes back to, why is it so easy for people to have access to these weapons? And what needs to be held accountable is, if these weapons are not locked up in the home, then, oh, heck yeah.
I'm just
ability. It's a lot. Cortina, how do you feel about this?
I mean, it is a lot. I didn't even let Morgan go to school today. I just had so many mixed emotions. One, because it was fresh yesterday. Two, it was the last day of school. And, sometimes even on last day of school, and she's in high school, people do crazy stuff.
Yeah.
And it was, emotionally, it was a lot. Like I caught myself a few times, like holding back tears. Not that I think it's anything wrong with crying, but I could feel a lump in my throat and, my eyes misting, especially when I started seeing the pictures of these sweet, innocent babies. And it's different when you just hear, okay, such and such number of people died. But when you are able to put a face with the tragedy, with the name, it gives it a whole nother level of trauma and humanness, if that makes sense. It's like you send your children to school, you think they safe, and you never see them again. Like they're just gone. And like the coach for the Golden State Warriors said, he was like, I mean, it's only a few people that's holding up the real gun control people. Like he said, we're not talking about basketball tonight. Like that's going to be hell. We ain't even talking about it. We need to figure out, like, enough is enough. Like we cannot keep saying, oh, my prayers, my condolences, all this other kind of stuff for people. Because guess what? It happens. And then it happens again. And then it happens again. And then you get to the place where you're desensitized to it. And then it's like, that's just okay. You asked the question earlier. I think it's kind of multi-leveled or layered as to why this is happening. One, I think children at that age, developmentally, their minds cannot concept the finality of death. Like
I 100% agree.
Ain't no resets. You can't reset and start the game over again. It's done. It's over. Yeah. I think they have a lack of impulse control. They don't have clear understanding of what's happening inside of them as it relates to emotions. I think parents are not as insightful or aware of what their children are doing and or have access to. I think that there are a lot of red flags that are missed when it comes to these situations, and it just creates the perfect storm for tragedy.
I agree.
And it's just sad.
Yeah, I agree.
It's sad.
Yeah, I found myself tearing quite a bit. I went through quite a bit of tissue today, just everywhere I looked online. And like you said, the more the pictures was coming out, and the students with their kids coming out, and it was like killing me. It's like, what the hell is wrong with America?
And then some people had the nerve to say, oh, that's why mental health is important. Don't get me wrong. Mental health is very important. But there are just some individuals who just do bad things. And it doesn't necessarily have anything to do with their mental health. Am I going to contribute the Boston shooter, or not the Boston, sorry, the Buffalo shooter to mental health? No, because racism is not a mental health issue.
No.
So we cannot just say, oh, my thoughts and prayers and mental health is important.
I agree.
Like, that just don't make any sense. Yes, mental health is important, but also getting stricter laws that don't allow assault rifles to be just open. As soon as he turned 18, his first thing that he did was went out and bought an assault rifle.
Yeah.
Why you 18? What you doing? With an assault rifle? Okay, handgun, cool. You want to protect yourself? All right, cool. An assault rifle? Why do you even need all of that? Like,
I mean, I feel like, why do you need that even at 18? I think still 18 is super young. You can't even drink at 18. Why the hell should you be able to buy a weapon?
Yeah, exactly.
No.
I mean, I feel like the only way, if you want to be 18 and carry a weapon, take your ass in the military and serve. I mean, otherwise, I feel like you should be at least 21 and have lived a little bit and experienced some things for a little bit before you are able to purchase a weapon. Hell, you can't even buy cigarettes unless you're 18. And as soon as people get 18,
I think they changed it to 21 now, I believe.
Oh, did they change it to 21? Then that's not a bad thing either.
Check it, but I believe that's what they're working on.
But we're at this place. And so here's my other thing, my other beef with Congress. You so fucking pro-choice or pro-life. You're so fucking pro-life, but you don't want to protect anybody. I'm like, you're pro-life, but we finally getting some baby food in. You're pro-life, and yet we have no gun laws to protect our children. What is wrong here? So here's my thing. Before I let you say something, here's my thing. If y'all people want to really start making a difference, take your ass out there and vote in November. This is a big year to vote because you're going to affect who is down here on the hill making some of these decisions. You're talking about community, local, state government. Go out there and vote. Know who your people are. Know that there are people out here who definitely want to protect your kids, who are not going to go with the status quo, that are willing to fight for you out here. I mean, we can't keep saying we want to fix things and we're not doing what it will take, following people's platform. And I know some people say all politicians are liars, but that some people in your local government, I can't always speak for the Hill because they fight down there, but your local government, there are a lot of people who are out here trying to protect their own children. And that's why they run for local office, because they know going down to the Hill, it's like all of these people that need to be voted out that they keep, voting in to stay in those seats. It's a fight. But your local government, your local and state government really matters. So go out there and vote. I'm not saying don't vote for people on the Hill, because you do so, vote all the way. But your local and your state and local governments, they have elections this year too. And it's time that we start making some differences in the people who are in office at the state and local level.
I was going to say for example, a fetus has more rights than a living person. From conception to while you still in the womb, up until the day you are born, you have more rights than women.
Child, pets have more right than women.
And I think it's just absolutely ridiculous when you think about, okay, anybody can go on in and get a gun, right?
Mm-hmm.
But for a woman, there's a waiting period. If you want to get an abortion, right? They have this, the little window period thing. You have to, first in some states, go through counseling to make sure this is what you want. When you're walking to the abortion clinic, you have all these people calling you all these other things. I saw something on Instagram that said, well, what if we made people who want to buy a gun do the same thing? And when they walking in to go buy a gun, people calling them murderers and everything like that. And making them wait a waiting period and all of these different things. I was like, the disproportionate or the disproportion when it comes to like what's good for something is not necessarily good, or it doesn't have the same weight as something else. And the only people who seem to be okay with it are these politicians who have all the power to change the laws. You have the power to change the laws, but you won't because of power, greed, making sure you're talking to whoever voted you in, the money that you put into lobbying efforts, because the NRA pays the senators, right? And the House people. So if I'm taking money from them, which is, by the way, illegal, can't do kickback. So if I'm taking money from them and they put money in my pocket, I'm going to vote the way they want me to vote or have inaction. Because if I do, then guess what? I'm not going to have this money no more. And so I think money more than anything is what causes inaction or action. Whatever side of the poll has the most money, that's the side that's going to win, which is absolutely sad. At the hands of risking innocent lives. That's crazy.
Yeah, the power of the purse. That's what that's called. That's what they call it. Those who with the money have the most leeway taken for them. They get the leeway and get their way, and that's so unfortunate. So I definitely feel as though we need to, as a community, do better. Really do better. And then, like you said, Cortina, when everybody's screaming mental health is real, there's a difference between mental health and outright pure evil.
Mm-hmm.
There's a huge difference between that. There are literally extremely evil people out here. And not to be funny, I always think to myself, during slavery time, some of these people were super evil. Some of the things that they thought to do to Black slaves.
Yes.
You could not, there's nothing mental about that. That is just strictly pure evil.
It's evil.
And so so we can't blame everything on mental health. We have to just learn to accept that in this world, there are people who are there's nothing wrong with them other than the fact that they're just evil. They don't have to like people. They don't have to dislike people. They're just evil spirited.
But the fact that they keep saying mental health is because people are getting off of these heinous crimes, just evil crimes, and saying that they have mental issues. Everybody's screaming mental health. How in the world can you plot and sit and research and go to a place because there are Black people there?
Yeah.
It's just
rooted. That's not a mental issue.
Correct. That's pure hatred. There is, to me, hatred is evil, pure evil. And I feel like anyone who agrees or starts making excuses for this behavior as if it's something that was warranted, or like even police brutality. I'm all, sometimes I'm reading through the comments and you hear all of this stupid shit that people say, oh, he should have, or she should have, or, they should. No, literally, there are just people who are purely evil and have so much hatred in their heart that they're going to push and push to do what it is that they want to do, even at the expense of a life. We see it all the time.
Somebody said After Sandy Hook, we said never again. But yet we let
Yeah.
3,865 more mass shootings happen.
Oh, hammers.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. That's a whole lot. That's a whole lot. And it's so unfortunate because how do you when you start really talking about gun control, it's somewhat a sensitive issue because some people feel like in this world they have to protect their homes. So and the other thing is, like, even some states, I don't think it should be that easy to get weapons. I know in Georgia, very easy to get weapons. Texas, very easy to get weapons. No waiting period.
Water.
Maryland, you have to take a class and all of that. Unless you're prior service military, then it's waived. And in my mind, I'm thinking, no, everybody should probably take this, because it doesn't mean that just because you're a veteran that you're wrapped right. You should have a weapon.
That's true.
Yeah, look here. I've been married to a soldier before who wasn't wrapped right. I'm just saying. A lot of them have PTSD and other things. And I'm not saying people who have PTSD shouldn't carry a firearm, because PTSD is not just for those people who are in the military. People who have incidents that happen to them and continually relived it and have anxiety over it, that's still a level of PTSD. Car accidents, rape victims, even, parents tragically dying, health scares, or somebody has a stroke, might be scared to go to sleep at night. There's so many levels of things that can cause people to have PTSD. I don't want people to think that I'm limiting it to just the military. I'm just saying that it should not be this easy in no state for anyone to get a weapon. Just like there should be more age restrictions on getting weapons. If we have such a weapon problem, why instead of 21, why not make it 25? More people are more mature. You graduated college if you went. There's a much longer waiting period. I think mentally there's a huge difference in how you think from at 25 than you would at 18, that you would at 20, that you would at 20.
Absolutely.
Your prefrontal cortex is more developed, and because you're still developing at 21, 18, it's still having those changes. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So I feel like if you have to start putting any restrictions in place, let's start with age limits and psychology or psychological exams. Why not? Why not? I think you should be able to have some boxes checked off, and just to make sure that we're protecting the voices that can't protect themselves. Because Texas was a clear example that kids happily went into school and did not make it home.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that kills me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And people that shouldn't have a problem. If you have a problem with having these boundaries or these precautionary measures done, then you are looking to have a firearm to cause harm.
Yeah.
Not to protect yourself.
And then that's why I think what Rihanna and them said, that they wasn't raising their kids here in the United States.
Mm-hmm. They in Barbados.
I don't even blame her one bit, because I would certainly feel that way.
Yep.
Oh, goodness gracious, my head's about to explode. So on a positive note, let's try to shift a little bit. Anything great that's going on out here?
Well, personally, I submitted my proposal and it was approved for.
Oh, right.
So excited. So
congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. So now I can really start. Which I already started my project, but really actually continue it. And I designed my Sex Unveiled cards. And so it's the card game that makes communication sexy.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yes, I'm so excited.
Have you used them yet?
Huh?
Have you used them yet?
No, I'm still creating them. I had to get approval for my proposal, because I didn't want them to have me to change something and then I've done this work. That's what messed me up a little bit. So I had to push pause on the work that I was doing to make sure that they actually approved my proposal. So that is done. And I tentatively defend August 22nd, 2022.
Oh, good. That's my birthday. So hey,
Oh,
that's a good day.
I don't know if I'm gonna. That's what the timeline says. That is my projected based on what I have left to complete. So that's what I'm trying.
That's all right. That's a good day.
So that was something good that happened.
So Dr. Cortina Peters coming soon.
Mm-hmm,
2022. That's exciting. That is so super exciting. That's such a great thing. How is the business going?
Oh, it's going great. That just reminds me when we're finished.
Your expansion, basically.
Oh yeah, it's great. I mean, a lot of people are like, "Oh wow, it's like blickety black." I say, "Oh yeah, it's black." But I guess because a lot of times, like when you think of like we do stuff for, like if you go like to a medical website, you might have black pictures, but like when you actually go to the website, it's like, oh yes, like.
And then when you walk in, it's like black.
Yeah. Oh, right. Okay. Like you was for real. I'm like, you thought it was fake? Like,
no, we have to play.
So let me just ask you this. Because you have such a central focus and your target market is Black, what do you say to people who feel like you are causing a separation there, a lot of separatism there?
It's almost like, nail salons. When you walk in there, you mostly gonna see women, but men are not denied or turned away. I am accepting of everybody. However, this is a safe space curated for Black and brown individuals. Just like with Honey Pot, it was made for, Black women with sensitive vaginas. Anybody can buy it. It's just like that cream of nature. Back in the days, it used to be for Black people, right? But if you want to buy it, go ahead and go right on ahead and get it, if that's what you want to do. Because oftentimes when we look for a therapist, we don't see anything reflective of us. And so if part of my mission is to decolonize and destigmatize what it means to go to therapy, how am I doing that? I am doing that by shifting from therapy as usual. It's not what you're probably going to see over at Sally Sue's therapy spot, right? It's going to be something different. And I include and embed the culture in every part of how we conduct therapy. For example, our chat and chew sessions, because food is such a big part of our culture, that the therapist and the patient, we eat together, because when I break bread, there's a barrier that is removed.
Yes, that's very smart.
So I make sure when I am creating the different types of therapies that we do, that I included that. That was important for me. I'm not breaking any ethical boundaries. I only see adults, so for the most part. So it ain't like they got to get parent permission, and even if they did, they could, and it's almost like, if I'm eating with you, I trust you on a different level, and I can be a little bit comfortable because my mind is not worried about, okay, is she looking at me? Is she judging me? She eating just like me. That's not even a thought in my mind per se. So it really takes away kind of like the awkward uncomfortableness when you're thinking about going to a therapeutic session. And so
you're a genius. You're just a genius.
Thank you.
I know. But the reason why I asked that is because last year, I know when I first released my book series, there was so many, there was some backlash a little bit about my books and me being a part of the problem and all of that stuff. Hey, being a part of the problem. And I'm talking about my kids' books, not even adults. Yeah, not even adults. Yes. Because I named my kids Brown Girl and Brown Boy. They found it to be an issue, as opposed to just asking me, why would you give your characters the name Brown Girl and Brown Boy? And I would have simply explained that I want children to see themselves not by a name, but just by a color. And brown is a color. My books are educational, so they're very vibrant in color. But yes, my main characters in my books are brown by choice. And I always tell people also, as a writer, no matter what I write, whether it's adult or children, I write what I know. I write from my perspective.
Yes.
I've never been a white woman. I've never been a white child. I've been a black girl, or identified as a black girl with curly hair all my life, until it was relaxed. And even when my hair was relaxed, no one ever thought it was my hair. Imagine my trauma. Always hearing, "What are you mixed with? What are you this and that?"
What are you?
That
What
exactly.
are you really?
Yeah. You can't just be black. And I'm thinking, what? As a child, you should not have to explain that.
Mm-hmm.
And so my books, I want to cultivate the internal relationship that children have with themselves, to see themselves and love themselves as they are. Not feeling like, oh, because I see this white girl or white boy who does all of these things and I want to be like them. I don't care that you want to be like them, but love your own skin. You can say, I want to do that. There's a difference between wanting to do that and wanting to be that color.
Right.
Or do that because they're that color. Children can disassociate so easily. And so, but I wanted to break the stigma that black children should see themselves in books. White children have no problem seeing themselves in books. It's quite common.
Exactly.
In a lot of ways, that's going to enrich their upbringing. But then the other part is, I believe in literacy. I don't define literacy like most people because I'm a creative.
Mm-hmm.
With my books, I choose to show children what they can do, what they can be, brighten the colors. But if any of you have ever been to my kids' red carpet or come out to my kids' red carpet, I celebrate literacy and the creativity of it. So there is music. You need to be literate to be able to do music, art, face paintings. You need to be able to understand literacy for that too. Photography. There's so many things. Everything in our life is tied to literacy. So that's the gift that I want to give to children. And do you know that children fall in love with video games? They learn how to read all of that stuff. They can describe everything, all the
Mm-hmm.
That's still a form of literacy. If you can teach kids how to read by what they love, it's not always cracking open a book. But if you can put them in a place where they can get a book, get reading, and say, all of this is fun, you have a better opportunity of having children understand and fall in love with what being literacy means, and the importance of reading and the importance of writing. Because there are some people who can read but can't comprehend a damn thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the truth. It's too different. Yeah, that is the truth.
Or don't understand the context, don't understand tone. So that's why I ask you what I ask, because so many people feel like because you gravitate to what's normal for you and are able to give that to people who are like you, I don't see where the problem should be. I don't even see why there should be an explanation of anything. But I also feel like as a Black woman, I'm always having to explain why I do something, but nobody's asking these white women why they are doing things.
And I ask you because it's a position of privilege. Like, how dare you have something and we're not included? Well, this ain't about you.
Yeah.
It's not. Yeah, like you can go to probably we still only make up 2% of the field anyway. Yeah. So if that is true, you are more likely, if you're going through insurance or if you're being referred to a provider, they're probably not going to be Black, especially if you're going through your insurance or EAP, unless you specifically ask for one. All of the patients, I want to say like 98% of the patients that I see, they specifically came to me because they specifically wanted a Black therapist. Like this was even before I promoted that. So I attract already who my center is created for. And so what it does, it continues to widen that lens when people are searching and wanting to connect. And I even have one clinician, like if you go to the website, you can look at the clinicians and they all have their bios and everything. I have one, I absolutely love it. her picture is just totally different. You know, she has her singing bell, she has her crystals and her stones, and she incorporates yoga and mindfulness and spirituality. And she's known as the mind, body, and soul therapist. So if you are, we provide a lot of different things, but the focus is on curating that safe space for Black and brown people, right? Because I don't necessarily have to explain to you what I mean when I say, you know what I'm saying? Or, and they're like, no, I don't. Can you share that with me? You done totally messed up the whole therapeutic process. Like, you know, we was just talking. And so it's funny because the vernacular that I use within my sessions is very like what I use from day to day, which attracts the patients because it's like, dang, like you already get it. Like you get what I'm saying without me having to change my words or switch it up. Because if you have to change how you speak, and I'm not talking about like your perception, but I'm talking about just how you talk in everyday life. Are you really bringing the real version of you? And if you're bringing a pseudo version of you so that you can sound politically correct when you're talking to your therapist, how is that going to translate when you go right back to your regular life using the regular language that you use? So come on in as you are, your genuine self, so we can work on helping you to get to where you want to go while you are still the authentic version of who you are.
Code switching. Some people are used to that.
Yeah, girl.
But then you're not being honest when you do that, and that makes you miss out on getting a good session and freeing yourself from whatever you came for in the first place.
Well, what do you say about that in real life? Because there are people who code switch all the time. They are at work and they speak one way, and then once they are off work, then they speak another way.
That was really big for me when I was in corporate America, and then it was some point where I just stopped it because I had got high enough where what you gonna do? What you gonna say? And y'all know like how I talk. I sound very country sometimes. Okay, I don't know. That's just how I'm going. If I get real comfortable with you, it's just gonna come out that way, and that is a part of being comfortable with you and not wanting to assimilate or be accepted, right? Because who came up with professionalism? Because we only code switch because we feel as though our dialects or how we speak is not the King's English. It's not proper.
Exactly.
But that was a rule created by Black people. I mean, by white people. Okay, so if I'm going to talk like this, because even the way that I'm speaking right now, some people would be like, "Oh my God, that's so ghetto." Like, no, I'm speaking because I'm not like, okay, yes, okay, yeah, I totally get it. Like, no, I'm not speaking like that. If I have, and sometimes naturally my voice will change because I ain't gonna be yelling like I do, you know, when I'm with Morgan and stuff. But just you being your regular self, you don't have to put on just to make other people feel comfortable. Now, I do think there is a difference between like code switching, where I'm not going to be using slang at the office, but my tone and my pitch and my rate, those different types of things are going to be the same. Some of the words that I use might shift, but not necessarily the sound of the voice, if that makes sense. So I'm not going to make my voice sound more white to be more accepted. And so I think that is the difference when you're thinking about when you're talking about code switching, like when I'm dealing with kids. Now that might be a code switch I might change because I need to connect with them in a different way. The way I'm talking to you ladies, if I'm trying to really connect, we might play ball. I might use some words and terms that I've learned from my daughter that I know that they will understand. So I think that is totally okay if you're trying to connect with a certain population of people. But if you are doing it, and you have to ask yourself why do I feel like it's necessary for me to shift the way I am speaking? Is it to be accepted? Is it because I am in a boardroom with all these high power white men and they might look down on me? Well, if they look down on me, that's a reflection of them. Because if they are expecting me to show up and speak a certain type of way because it's appropriate, do I even want to be impressing these type of people? Because it's going to take me back to where we tap dancing in front of massa to entertain them. Like,
so here's the other thing. And I always ask some people these questions, especially when they say stuff to me. What does talking white mean? What does it mean to sound white?
So you have to look at it like this. Like I this is how I talk, right? This is how I talk. But for most people, when they think of professionalism, they think the more you assimilate to whiteness, that equates to assimilating to professionalism. So for some people, and I'm not saying the people that's just kind of crazy, maybe they didn't grow up and they're like, oh my God, you are talking white. No, I'm talking proper English. So even if I come to someone who may be in, let's just say somebody who like in the deep hood, like they be like, yo, you know, all that other kind of stuff. Even if I come to them talking just the way that I'm talking right now, they themselves may say you're talking white. So I think there's a separation between people saying that you're talking white when you speak differently than what they are used to. So in their mind, and that's the way they are perceiving you when it's not even really talking white. Because I don't, for the most part, I don't even think it's like a voice change or tone when it comes to that population of people saying you're talking white. No, I'm just speaking where you can understand me clearly, congruently, and in concise sentences.
Well, to me, the reason why I asked that, because you know, you have my book, and one of the things that I said in my Black Girl Activist book is that it's what it suggests Black to be. So it's not there. I do know that there are Black people who have never been around, you know, white people, just like there are white people who have never been around Black people, and they speak proper. They don't use slang. And so, but it's what it suggests that Black should be. It's as if Black should only be ghetto, hood, and not be able to articulate, you know, words. So to me, I would love for us to get out of that space and shift that narrative that Black people can be just as proper English speakers or whatever language they speak as any other race.
I agree with that. But one of the things you have, I 100% agree with that. But one of the things you have to look at is if you're a child, right, and you haven't been exposed, or the only thing that you see is on TV, and the only people that I know that sound like that don't look like me, if I encounter you, I'm going to say, oh, you sound white, because that's all I've been accustomed to. That's all I know. So that comes from a lack of exposure, because if everybody around my set and everybody around my hood speaks exactly the same, but you look like me, but you don't sound like me. You sound like Mr. Rogers, who I watch on TV, you know, who don't sound like nobody from my hood. That's a lack of exposure. And so I think that's when programs, community programs, do a great job with bringing different people in, so the children that are in those communities can see that people that look like them, we are not a monolith. So we are able to show up and be, and we sound different. We celebrate different things. And so I think it's a lack of exposure, because you got to think about that same child who thought that as they get older in that same environment, their mentality is not going to change. It's going to be the exact same. So when they get older, and if they go off to college and they, let's say, a scholarship or something, the only people that they probably ever knew who did not speak like them was maybe a football coach or a basketball coach. But the basketball coach and football coach was white. So the only people in my mind are my other white teammates and everybody else, because this is where I came from. So now I'm in a huge university and I'm seeing Black kids from all over, and I'm like, oh, y'all talk white. It's not necessarily, and I don't think that they're saying you talk white. For some people, it's, I've never been exposed. Like, I didn't know Black people can talk like this. And I don't think it has anything to do necessarily with a educational level. I think is, again, what they're exposed to. But that's just some people. We do have some ignorant people that be like, oh my God, girl, you talk white. Oh my God.
Yeah. No,
Yeah, but it's vice versa too, because when you hear white people quote unquote talking or acting Black, what's acting black. The stereotype that has been put out there is that all black people, like you said, are ghetto or ratchet or whatever. Yeah.
Oh, you can totally tell when people culturally appropriate, though.
Yeah, because I'd be like, ooh,
right in your face.
They more culture than me. Because I mean, I'm for the culture, but you like culture. You walk around here like
the culture.
What was the lady name? Rachel. Yeah, like I mean, because you was down there marching with King too. Because I don't know, because you more black than me.
Oh my gosh, you are. Yeah, I mean, just like cornrows and that things that have been stereotypically black. But then again, I mean, not to be funny, there's a lot of things black people can't have that are immediately, it's stolen.
Popularized when they do it.
Yeah.
When the people that's not us, go ahead and make it popular. Like, oh my God, look at what they got. Girl, we've been doing this forever. Like,
those straight backs. Those are straight backs.
We've been wearing bonnets forever. Hell, Morgan was goddamn not even 1 year old, and I was putting a bonnet on her head. You just barely had hair, and she had one.
The silk scarf, all that.
Yeah.
That's always good.
Oh no, I can't stand a bonnet. I only wear it if I go on vacations now. Other than that, like I have when my hair was straight before, I used to have wrap. It always stayed wrapped, so my hair is super tame. Now that it's curly, I'm like, look at here. If it ain't this rat's nest that's sitting up here right now, it's just down. And I do sleep in a silk pillowcase so that I don't have to put
the tension on your hair.
Yeah, but the other part, well, maybe it's just me. Y'all have had natural hair longer than I have. Why is this shit so heavy?
Well, I don't know.
It might be the product.
No, it's not. I use a vegan product and with no product. It's just the more I've been growing my hair out, this shit is heavy.
Well, white people might say the same thing. I don't know what kind of hair they got. They got a lot of long hair, and it might be heavy. Their hair might be heavy too. I don't know,
but I'm just like this curly stuff. I mean, sometimes when I'm walking around and it's just big and it's like hot, I'm like, it's hot.
Yeah.
Oh well, yeah, that hot, yeah, that heat.
It's hot,
what I got on.
And I'm trying not to cut it. I want to see how long I can grow my naturally curly hair out. But I'm struggling because it's heavy. It's heavy sitting up. It's heavy down. It's just not in my face and just making me hot. And I do my best to get as much shrinkage as I can. I'd be doing this so that it's not on my neck. And now it's on my neck. And I'm like, I don't know. I'm deciding if I'm going to get braids or not. But then braids are heavy. I'm just torn. But I'm just wondering if anybody who is listening or can understand, please hit me in the DM or in Messenger, send me an email. I'm easy to find. Tell me if your hair is heavy, if it's long and curly, because then I can just, I can go ahead and get me a haircut because this shit is a lot. It's a lot. Because you have natural hair, don't you?
Me?
Well, is it long though? I know y'all be cutting your hair and shit. So
I cut my sides. My hair. I cut my sides, but the top part I haven't cut down. I've been natural 13 years.
Oh my God!
And I've
since
been natural
I had my third baby.
I've been natural since 2005.
Does the top get heavy? Maybe I should just shave around the sides or something.
I'm not heavy.
I don't know. I don't even know. I don't know. Okay. You know what? When I used to perm my hair, and I used to do my hair, I used to curl it, straighten it, all that. I would perm my hair once or twice a year, and then I was always flat ironing and rolling up. It was heavy for me then. I have a lot of thick, long. My hair used to be down the middle of my back, and so it would be thick and long. And Lord, I was tired of it, and it feels like it's lighter to me now for some reason. I don't know.
My hair is lighter when it's relaxed. I remember that. I've not gone as long as some other people. As long as other people. I just told my FaceTime went off and just threw me all the way off. My hair used to be really, really long and relaxed. It was easy because, I stay wrapped, but it was so, I don't know. But now it's like I have all my real strands. It's not.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
and it's just a lot. And I'm watching it grow. So before I could barely, had a struggle ponytail at the top, and now I got a whole full-fledged hair that just sits at the top. But I'm struggling to figure out what I want to do with my hair at this point. So I don't know. Don't be surprised.
Quick question for Tina.
Yeah.
Sorry, Pam.
No, you're right.
One of my friends just texted me. Do you do telehealth work?
Yes. I've been doing telehealth since 2017. Even before the pandemic, I was doing telehealth.
So she's listening and she's like, I really like her. I want to know, do you do you work with teenagers?
You have to be 14 and up. You have to be
okay, yeah, she's older. Yeah, okay. So I'll reach out to you via text, and I'm gonna give her your information so she can reach out to you.
Speaking of, where do you practice?
I am in 4 states: Wisconsin, Texas, Georgia, Florida. Those are where I practice. It depends on, so I'm also a life coach too, right? So it really just depends on what the issue is. If I am helping you to get motivated, get your shit together, come on, girl. Come on, we need to do this. Oh Lord, my bad. I ain't mean so I do an assessment to see what the individual would be best suited for based on the information that I gather.
Okay.
Yeah, because there are even some people who used to be patients, but now like you could.
How does telehealth work if, like, say that person's in DC and you're in Florida, but you're not licensed in DC?
Not for therapy, no.
And that's what I'm saying. So you can't
But the
treat
life coach portion of it is okay.
But you have to be very careful with that also, though. That's why I do a very in-depth consultation to make sure, because there are some people that try to get around when they're really doing therapy, which is unethical. So you want to make sure that this person really, like, if they have a lack of motivation, or I'm just confused, I don't know what the hell going on, or things like that, that can really be life coaching. Like, you don't necessarily need like in-depth work. We going back, like we have to really work at these emotions and these feelings. But if you just like, girl, I don't even know.
Well, insurance covers therapy and life.
I don't take insurance.
Oh, so, well, either way, you're paying the same amount. Okay.
So I don't do that. I don't take insurance. But yeah, and they can also look at the New Art Center website too, because all of the clinicians there, they also do life coaching as well. So it might be something. She might be like, oh, I think I like this person, or this, and their rates are much more affordable than mine.
Just to throw that out there.
I'm just saying, I just want to put that out there because I'm the girlfriend therapist.
Like, you are branded.
Yes. And so like they have a little bit more of, I have 3 different tiers in my practice, and depending on the experience level, now the quality is going to be there because I'm very particular about who I hire, because at the end of the day, they're carrying my brand. Correct. So the quality is going to be there. It just comes with where they are in their career. So I have licensed me, been doing it for years, certified in different modalities and everything like that. Then you have the registered interns. So these are state registered interns. And so before they can get their license, they must practice under a fully licensed individual for at least 2 years. So then that's the next tier. So instead of paying 155, 160 per session, they're paying 100 per session. So that's like a $60 off. For some people, that $60 makes or breaks you. And then you have other individuals that are master's level clinicians. Those sessions are just $60. Okay. So it just really depends on what they're looking for.
Good to know. Good to know. I have tears to my writing for that same reason. Great quality. However, anytime I'm giving up, I think people also forget, as a writer, I'm giving up my intellectual property and giving it to you.
Absolutely.
That shit that I can actually be copywriting, that could be benefiting my company and my SEO and my SEM and my user engagement and all of that stuff.
Yep.
Or that's what you're also paying for. So if anybody who writes, actually, if you have a writer, trust me, if it's cheap, kudos for you. I hope the quality is there, but are they wanting to put their name on it? I mean, I can easily just say, well, you know what, as long as you put my name on it, I'll put it a little bit cheaper, because when you go out on Google, my name is already going to be out there on all your shit and all your content, all your social media posts, because I do write social media captions as well, all your press releases, all your bios, all that stuff. You know, I could signature that, but I don't. I let it be yours. As a writer, I'm giving up a lot. And people fail to understand, but that's why I even have on mine. The reason why, here's how my prices are brought up, you know, how I create my price list. You're for, you know, one, my expertise, my time, and my intellectual property.
Yep.
That's how my service fees are created. So, and I feel like I'm pretty damn fair. But I write all day long. This is what I do.
The thing is, some people say like people won't pay, right? I say don't waver on the cost. For a lot of people, you know, like a lot of therapists, we're in social service, we got bleeding hearts, you know, we'd be like, you know, I want to help everybody. People can't pay this. The price is the price. What people don't understand is it costs a lot of money to be a therapist. You have continuing education units that you must do that cost you in order to be licensed. You have liability insurance. You have slip and fall insurance. You have all of these certifications. You have all of these memberships that are beneficial for you to stay connected with. You have to you just don't go into a session and start it. Depending on what they're working on, you may have to do some prep work. You have to follow up. So when people look at the price, they may be like $160. But you're not just paying for that hour, that 45 minutes that you are with the clinician. You are paying for much more than that
stuff. But you know what? I would say that is any legitimate business.
Yeah.
No matter what you do, if you are a business owner, there is overhead costs, there's time, there's administrative costs that you have to factor in there that goes into it. People don't just sit here and make soaps and lotions and hair products or t-shirts or whatever and not putting in manual labor. Every time you have to go in and you put stuff, they're having to design and do all of those other things, keep their websites up to date. There are so many costs associated with being a business owner that people just, I mean, even me finding time to do administrative stuff. You know, even if you have an assistant, you have to train assistants. If you got to change assistants, get another one, hire people, fire people, do evaluations. There are so many levels to business that people don't understand. Now, if you're a business owner and it's just you and you're not doing any of those things, kudos to you. You're probably not going to be successful for that long. And I'm not saying that to be rude, but there is work, consistent work involved in being an entrepreneur, being a business owner, whatever you want to call it. And there's always the back end work. I always equated this. You go to concerts, you love it. It's easy for you to get your ticket and go sit your ass in a seat, not realizing there are people who got to clean the stadium and do all of this prep work, ticket sales, create the tickets, go in, pick music out and do the choreography. There's so much back leg work that takes place that people don't see. You don't pull up to McDonald's and just say, hand me a burger, and they just throw it out the window. They give you a bun, they give you, everything, and then you have to put your burger together. There's a lot of prep work that goes into that. That is being in business. And so, like you said, I think one of the things that people need to understand that the cost should be the cost. Period. There shouldn't be, unless that business owner say, well, I'm having a sale today. Don't go asking them, well, how much can I get it for? Because I think that's extremely rude because of the amount of work that people have to put in. That's all I'll say about that. So really quick, Louisa, where can people connect with you? Because I know it's almost time for you to go around the corner.
I know, I got to go around the corner. You can connect with me at the Blue Phoenix Hills everywhere. And you guys, this is our last show until August.
Until August 3rd. I know.
My goodness.
Summer hiatus. Woo-hoo. Yes, I'm going to love it. I'm going to love this time off.
Yes.
Cortina, where can people connect with you at?
You can connect with me at The Girlfriend Therapist, as you can see here on all social media platforms. You can also follow the Noir Center, and that's THENOIR Center, CENTER. check us out. That's our website as well, the Noir Center. And we are here for all of your Black and Brown emotional wellness needs.
All right. And you can follow me at IAMDRPGURLEY on all social media platforms. And then also at the Brown Girl Brown Boy series on Instagram as well. The tickets for the Atlanta Kids Red Carpet will release on June 1st. So be ready to go and get yours. All the information will be put out there at that time. So you got to follow me if you want to know when things are going to be available. But I'm putting everything in motion for the promotions to start June 1st, which is next week.
All right.
And like, you can find everything about this podcast at DAW Entertainment /podcast. So, it's where you can find us right here. I can highlight it. Whoops, I did highlight it. If you want to be on the show, get your stuff in now, because we're going to be back on August 3rd with all new live shows. A lot more fun. I already have people, I've seen stuff come through on my side anyhow, for people registering all the way for August. And we went all the way through up until the last 2 episodes with just solo us, which is crazy. But we thank everybody for tuning in with us every Wednesday, and then turning back and just listening to the podcast. We literally love you for that, and just making sure that you tune in. If you would like to contribute to any of our initiatives, because our platform is free for everybody to come on, hit us in the tip jar at www.buymeacoffee.com /Herspiration HH. And with that, everybody have an amazing summer and break off. Yes, we will be back on August the 3rd. And I don't know what I just did. Okay, I will be back on August the 3rd. And with that, everybody, cheers.